Hi everyone, welcome back to another reading for the Forces of Nature. I'm not reading the entire book. I'm choosing scenes that I think will not be a problem to follow, even if you don't know the story or what happened before this scene. But to give a quick background here, this is a portal fantasy. And in portal fantasy, we have two worlds and usually a door that takes you from our usual reality to this fantasy setting where the story unfolds. There is this academy for warriors, but the warriors keep getting missing. And right before this scene, there's a dangerous incident that takes place, something that happens to the new academy students as they were traveling through the portal. And this scene takes place after what happened. Eric was still dealing with the aftermath of the tunnel's attack. He was out on a mission with the Academy General, far beyond Huzafia and the tunnel's limit. The General, Eric, and Light were at the rest house on the other side of the cosmic world, as their presence was officially needed to witness a legal procedure. The General and his men were not the only officials in the rest house. General Fleming of the Presence was also present with his men, which were too many that some of them had to stand in the dark tunnel. The situation was bad for Eric, who rushed into the rest house after General Harvey, hoping he could intervene but had no authority. Bad for the customers of the rest house that were ordered to leave the place as the officials arrived. Bad for Alfred and his family, especially for Melvin, who was deemed an outlaw, for he had been known to have contacts with the tunnel gangs, or so they believed, and was accordingly suspected of being responsible for what happened to the new warriors at the tunnels. 2 of the 7 most powerful men in Huzafia were at the rest house for the purpose of capturing a criminal. And so, even though he was merely a suspect, a criminal was how Melvin was going to be treated. After revising the young man's file, which was a proof of his pure hatred for the warriors' community, the hatred that resulted in some incidents between him and several members of that community, from sword duels to public brawls that ended in injuries. The government of Huzafia, represented in the 2 present generals, decided that Melvin was a danger to all warriors, especially since the attacks on the warriors had become too numerous to count. Melvin was the first person General Harvey had accused when he was asked if he had a suspect in mind that he believed might have planned the attack on his warriors, especially since Alfred's family were the only ones, besides the academy staff, who knew the exact timing of the new warriors' trip. It seemed almost confirmed that Alfred's nephew was the one who plotted the attack. That was why General Fleming was present to supervise the procedure of taking Melvin as a prisoner. General Harvey had to be there as the warriors' headmaster and temporary guardian, and as the students' official representative, Light had to be there also. As for Eric, he was present because he was an important official who also happened to be a witness to the attack. They had to be there not because witnessing the capturing of a criminal was in itself important, but as criminals usually had a trial before being sent to prison, all those who would normally attend that trial had to be there for the procedure to be legal. Alfred's family was devastated. Melvin was silently being handcuffed. Crystal was crying out loud, protesting and shouting at the guards that were holding her cousin, and Britta was holding her back to stop her from leaping on the guards. Britta's eyes were worriedly fixed on her husband, who was being questioned at a corner of the rest house by General Fleming's men, under the direction of the general. Eric was impatiently waiting for the outcome of that interrogation as well, but at the same time he dreaded it. Maurice, the guard, was there too, standing away in a dark corner, leaning on his walking stick and watching everything in silence. Eric was greatly disappointed by the general's decision. Alfred and his family had been his friends for many years, and he hated to see them in that situation. It was true that Melvin's attitude towards him was anything but friendly. Melvin never tried to harm him or even threatened to do so. All the time as Alfred was being questioned, Eric was standing just behind General Harvey's head, trying to convince him privately to take back the charges he brought against the family. "He's only a foolish boy, he's hardly a criminal," said Eric to the general quietly. "He's a threat to all warriors who come here. I can't believe you overlooked his presence in the rest house all those years." The general whispered back, "Sir, I really don't think he was responsible for what happened at the tunnels. The gangs attack passengers every day. Why does this have to be a conspiracy? Because they didn't attack regular passengers this time. Who would want to rob a student's carriage? Unless, of course, they want something else other than money. Maybe they didn't know who we are, Eric. The warriors were attacked 3 times in 2 days. One of these attacks happened here, inside the rest house. This is unprecedented," said the general, animated with frustration. "We need to eliminate as many suspects as we can. The least you can do now is not to interrupt the procedure and to keep details of the incident if you're asked. So, our presence here only means one thing, and that he will not have a trial, or at best his trial will be much delayed." Eric was frustrated too. What if that boy is innocent? Taking him to prison before trial is just not fair to him. He's only 17. Now is not the time to start questioning our justice system, Captain, said the general. "I'm not questioning, sir, I'm just saying that maybe we were quick to judge on this one." "Enough, Eric," said the general impatiently. "The matter is in General Fleming's hands now. He already decided the boy's fate, and we are yet to know Alfred's. But if it turns out he knew what his nephew was up to, I won't hear any protests from you, understood?" Minutes later, they finished questioning Alfred, and all the family, including Melvin, waited in agitated silence to hear the general's decision about him. "After careful consideration," started General Fleming, addressing Alfred and his family, "we've decided that the rest house keeper, Alfred Murray, has no connection to the attack that the new Zodia students faced in the tunnels on the day of their arrival at the Cosmic Vault. Accordingly, Alfred is free to resume his work at the rest house." The Murrays sighed in relief. However, the general's voice came back to stop air in their throats. He, as well as his family, and anyone close to them whom they decide to employ here, will be under keen observation until further notice, said the general. As frustrating as a continuous government supervision would be, the Murrays preferred that over Alfred being taken away. Yet they were still broken-hearted over Melvin, who was going to be taken to prison with no information as to when he would be released. Guards left the place with their captive, preceded by the general. Melvin was still silent and didn't struggle, so he wouldn't cause more trouble to his family. Crystal continued to shout for her cousin's innocence. Eric was sad for them, but there was nothing he could say that would make them feel any better. He hesitated to leave and kept standing there, searching for words. But then he saw Alfred looking back at him, reassuringly, and he knew that perhaps it was better she just leave. Light was the last one to leave the rest house. He was beside himself the whole time, having to listen to Crystal's upfront protests, and saw them as a confessed support to a criminal. And so on his way to the gate, he could not help but say something to Crystal and her family. "I'd disconnect myself from him if I were you. Be careful who you trust with our secrets next time. If it was for me to decide, I would punish you all for slowness," said Light, and with that he walked into the dark tunnel. Thank you so much for watching this far. I hope you liked this scene, and I would really love to know your thoughts in the comments. Also, if you have read this book, don't hesitate to leave a review. Reviews are very, very important. I will leave links to my Goodreads and Amazon in the description. Thanks again for watching, and see you in the next video.